Hi everyone, my name is Ryan. Welcome to Math with RG. Today we're tackling pre-algebra percent problems. Let's get into it. Okay, so today, number one, we have in a basketball game, Rowan scored 20% less points than Hazel did. If Hazel scored 30 points, what did Rowan score? Okay, so we're gonna read it a second time, right? I always recommend you read it a second time, right? If you've been watching my videos, you know that you want to read it a second time and pick out the key words, right? So let's read it again. In a basketball game, Rowan scored 20% less, right? So that's a key phrase right there. 20% less points than Hazel did. If Hazel scored 30 points, what did Rowan score? Okay, so here's how we tackle this. The first question I'm going to ask you is, what does 20% less actually mean? I'm going to give you a moment to think about it. Okay, so 20% actually means, 20% less actually means you always take the original, right, which is always the most famous percentage, right, the 100%, and we subtract 20%. So if Rowan scored 20% less, right, that means we take the 100% minus the 20%, and we would get 80%. So that means that Rowan scored 80% of what Hazel scored, right? So let's just say R equals 80% of whatever Hazel scored, which is H, right? So in this case, we know that Hazel scored 30 points. So we're going to translate this now. So Rowan, R, is the thing we're looking for. 80%, we got to write it as a decimal or a fraction. Let's go with decimal. So we divide by 100, so we move it 2 places to the left, right? So 0.80. I could also write it as just 0.8, because for a decimal, I don't need the 0 at the back end. Of, right? So the direct translation of means multiplication. So I'm going to put a dot. And then H, well, we know that Hazel scored 30 points, so we're going to write 30. So now we have our little math problem. We know that we're doing 0.8 times 30. Okay, now I'm going to teach you one of the coolest tricks about multiplying with a decimal and a whole number, right? Like a decimal, 0.8 is really 80%. So we could say percent times a number or times a whole number. So here's the cool trick. First of all, this is 80%. It's less than 1, right? If I said to you, what's 100% of 30? The answer is just 30, right? Because that's all of it, right? But I'm doing 80% of 30. So the first thing that I'm going to say to myself is, I know the answer has to be less than 30. Okay. Now, the second thing I'm going to say to myself is because I'm doing 80% of 30, I know that the answer is going to be kind of close to 30 though, right? Because 80% is kind of close to 100%. Okay, now here's what I'm going to do with the multiplication. Here's the trick. Notice that the number 30 has 2 places, right? A 3 and a 0. Notice that the 0.80 also has 2 places, right? 80. So all I have to do is move it 1 place for each one, right? So I'm going to go like this, change that to a 3, and I'm going to go the opposite way and change this to an 8. So it's going to turn into 8 times 3. Now notice I'm doing the opposite things, right? Because this is not where it says like 0.8 equals 30, right? They're 0.8 times 30. So I took the 30, I moved the decimal place 1 place to the left and made it 3. I took the 0.8 and moved it 1 place to the right to balance it. Now it's 8 times 3. So your final answer is 24 points, right? It's a word problem, so we got to put that in. Okay, let's go to the next one. Here we go. So we have, today, Jennifer's goal is to clean 60% of her home that is 1,500 feet squared, or square feet. If she has cleaned 800 square feet, did she reach her goal? All right, so let's read it again. Look out for the keywords. Today, Jennifer's goal is to clean 60% of her home. 60% of her home. That is 1,500 square feet. If she has cleaned 800 square feet, did she reach her goal? All right, so our key words or phrases are 60% of her home. Then we know her home is 1,500 square feet, and we know she's cleaned 800 square feet. So here's what we do. We know that we're looking for 60%. So let's try to create that percentage, right? So we got to create a percentage and see if it lines up. Well, we know she did 800 already out of 1,500. So we can now take this fraction and change it to a percentage. So what you can do is you can go, okay, well, there's 2 zeros here and there's 2 zeros here. So this goes down to 8 over 15. But I don't know what 8 over 15 is. So I would have to either get the denominator to be a 10, 100, or 1,000, or I can just do long division. Now, since we have the number 15, 15 doesn't go in, it can't be changed to a 10, right? And then because it's too big. And then 15 doesn't go into 100. Now 15 might go into 1,000, but that's probably a lot. Why don't we just do long division? So this says 8 divided by 15. So the 15 is going into the 8. Okay, so 15 goes into the 8 0 times, right? So I already have my decimal. What I do is I bring out a 0. 8 and 8.0 are the same thing. But now I'm just going to pretend like this says 80. How many times does 15 go into 80? Well, that would be 5 times. 5 times 10 is 50. 5 times 5 is 25. So if I add them together, I get 75. So we're really doing 80 minus 75, and that is 5. So then I just bring down another 0. How many times does 15 go into 50? Well, that would be 3 times. That's 45. Subtract. Oh, look, I got a 5 again, so I know the 3 is going to repeat. Excuse me. So I have 0.5 and then the 3 repeating. Change that to a percentage, right? Decimal to percent, we multiply by 100, so we go 2 places to the right. And so that's going to be 53.3 repeating percent. Now they asked you, did she clean 60%, right? Did she reach her goal? You can clearly now see that she did not. So the answer is no. All right, let's check out the next problem. Number 3. All right, it says, Erin made 4.5 liters of her amazing pasta sauce. Then her friends came over and ate some of the pasta sauce, and now there's only 3 liters left. What percentage of the pasta sauce was eaten? So let's read that again. Erin made 4.5 liters of her amazing pasta sauce. Then her friends came over and ate some of the pasta sauce, and now there's only 3 liters left. What percentage of the pasta sauce was eaten? All right, so I'm going to give you a moment, since we've practiced a few of these, to write down the key phrases or key words. Go ahead. All right, so let's jump into it. We know that we have a total of 4.5 liters. We know that some of it was eaten and now there's only 3 liters left. And then the question states, what percentage of the pasta sauce was eaten? So first we got to figure out just how much pasta sauce was actually eaten, right? So if we do 4.5 minus 3, that equals 1.5 liters. So 1.5 liters of pasta sauce was eaten. Now it's asking you what percentage of the pasta sauce, right? So the total pasta sauce was eaten. So we have to take what was eaten, the 1.5, and we have to divide that by the total, 4.5, right? It says was eaten, so we got to do the 1.5, which was eaten, divided by the total amount. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to change this. I'm just going to multiply each one by 10 so that we don't have a decimal anymore. So if I change that to 45 and 15, right? Notice I balanced it out. I multiplied each one by 10. So I moved the decimal one place to the right. All right, so now we just ask ourselves, how many times 45 go into 15? Well, that would be 0 times. So now we pretend like this says 15.0. Now it does say 15.0. We're pretending that it says 150. So how many times does 45 go into 150? Well, that would be 3 times. 135. Subtract, we get 15. We're going to bring down another 0. Well, look at that. It says 45 into 150 again. So I know that this is going to repeat now. So what percentage of the pasta sauce was eaten? Well, we have our decimal, right? We can put another 3 there if you want. So decimal to percent, we multiply by 100. Remember, the 3's repeating, so it goes forever. So if I go 2 places to the right, it's going to say 33 point, and then there's going to be another 3 repeating percent was eaten. Okay, so the important thing to remember here is that percents can also have decimals. They can also have repeating decimals. All right, great work on today's lesson. I'll see you next time. Great job on finishing today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, tell your friends and family. And if you want to dive deeper into chapter test work, you can check out my Skool platform, skool.com. The link will be in the bio below. And if you want more information on one-on-one tutoring, you can check out my website, rgtutors.com. Thank you again, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye for now.